and we need to ensure that potential foreign investors come in, domestic investments happen. Now, if all of those are things that you want to see happen, then some of the direction that we are taking, we need to check. So we need to have clarity over our monetary policy, whether it is the devaluation or whatever. We need to have the discussion, even though you don't want to. Oh, you don't want us to go back to subsidy removal. We need to face all of those realities, because you have to prepare the ground before someone else comes in and says, we're going to build, or we're going to partner with you to build. Now, if the person is unsure of bringing their dollars, and then when the time comes for them to take it out, there is uncertainty over that, no one will bring their money. They would rather go to some other economy that has a free entry and exit. So we have to know that we are not living in isolation. We're not living in a vacuum. We are part of the global community, and we need to do things that would make us be attractive. And so the global competitiveness component sits on those discussions we had at this summit.
Emeka from
Nigerians are really interested in this.
You mentioned subsidy and you have sparked off Nigerians.
Everyone is calling.
Hello, Emeka.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning,
Good
Emeka.
morning.
This is Emeka calling from the salon.
Go ahead, please, with your question or comment.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Please go ahead.
Okay, removing the oil subsidy would be a better deal for Nigeria. I can hardly hear you.
No, we can hear you.
You just go ahead.
But why do you think so?
Okay, I think removing the oil subsidy actually will be a right step in the right direction. But the fact is that the level of corruption in the country has eaten so deep that even while the oil subsidy is being removed, will it be directed to the appropriate portion? Like my boss is saying there, economics is saying that using an oil refinery that can actually refine the quantity of oil that West Africa will consume, so that it will be a source of revenue for the country. But the money itself, will it be directed towards that channel? Because the level of corruption in the economy is has eaten so deep that at the end of the day, this money will be accounted for. That is the fear I have, personally. Secondly, diversifying the economy, like the agricultural sector, like the oil is contributing just 14% to GDP. But then, if we diversify this economy, like I said, that the people that are actually feeding us, that they've been displaced, they are homeless, they don't have where to run to, that they should be taken care of, so that the food security of this country can be secured. If it is not secured, every one of us will see it either today or tomorrow.
Right.
And that's why we don't get food to buy. We don't get, even with our money, we don't get food to buy.
All right, thank you, Emeka. Thank you very much. Mr. Kerry, you were saying something about
diversifying in the economy. So then we look at the key ones, right? Obviously, agriculture. Solid minerals is something that we talk a lot about. It has two components. One is the fact that one has to be very careful, because you may go the route of the oil again with that, because it's a product that you just pick from the ground or dig or whatever, excavate. So it has to be done in a very sustainable fashion. It has to be done in a very coordinated, non-destructive manner. And it can actually provide a lot, because some of the products from mining can go into cement manufacturing, whatever, it can help build the country, right? The other area is manufacturing, obviously.
Sorry, before you move away from mining,
right.
Some people have said, especially state officials have said, the federal government seemed to be just, all over when it comes to laws, then the
Yeah, I
federal
think
government
there
is
are
in charge.
constitutional issues
So-
tied to that. I think I always I always misstate whether one is the exclusive or the other one, whichever list that is. There is one list where some of the items are under the purview of the federal government. Should it go down, just like land reform, to the states, in which case a governor's consent might be sufficient, in which case the people that are closest to those theater, as I call them, would be the ones that should make the determination of exploiting those resources. I do agree, whichever way we go, we need to be open-minded about it. We need to look at it as an opportunity for us to create jobs for citizenry, and look at it as opportunity for us to arrest some of the importation of some goods. I mean, so at the end of the day, whichever way we look at it, there is a huge opportunity of creating hundreds of thousands, if not millions of jobs in those industries.
We have to go, but there are two things that have come up here, and I'd like to bring that in. In terms of mining, are we looking at the issues of climate change? You know, that's going
That's
on
what I
for
mean
us
by
right now.
sustainability.
Okay,
Yeah, the
climate
impact
change, the
it has.
environment.
Environmental degradation also.
And then InnoCreative from Canada says, fuel subsidy solution Nigeria is simple, but Nigeria's system is complex.
You see, I want us to, in closing, what I would like us to do is bring the discussion back to the reality. Okay, obviously,
We have left the budget now, so
no, because we have to come back to this budget, because clearly the fuel subsidy is something that Nigerians are passionate about, and I think that from all the colors and how we're seeing it, but this subsidy is also part of the budget. So what we are saying, I think what we want to see now with this budget is the articulation. I think as the chairman of the National Economic Summit Group has stated, we're going to have to borrow to our limit. When we get to our borrowing limit, let's make sure the borrowings we're doing are for investment, not consumption and paying salaries. And more importantly, I think it's important to understand that agriculture is 22% of our GDP, the highest contributor to that factor. Let's make sure we gainfully employ people there. And I think, finally, my final input is that let us put a policy. This government needs to articulate its economic policy and direction around this budget so that we can restore confidence. It is not just, confidence is a big factor. When there's confidence, companies will spend. But if you do not have confidence in an economy, then we are where we are. We're going to print money, which is quantitative easing, and we're going to borrow money, and we'll fund the budget. But the question is that we don't want to come here this time next year and be saying the same things.
All right. Mr. Kerry.
Yeah, I think it's the way the budget is structured. I see opportunities for change. What do I mean by opportunities for change? I think there is going to be a very tight scrutiny of how the budget is being spent. Both the Budgetary and National Planning Ministry and the Ministry of Finance have clearly demonstrated, as far as I'm concerned, on where they could see substantial savings or blocking of leakages. And these are professionals that we know are very serious when they say that they're going to do something. Two, the reality of raising the funds. I think it was broken down into 60% or so domestic and about 30-something percent foreign borrowings. So the domestic borrowing would basically be issuing bonds, right? So it's more or less ways and means in a sense, but it's actually domestic borrowings. So what we end up doing is that hopefully we see an economy where the monetary policy as to where the Naira is and where we should anticipate the Naira be would be clarified in the next months or so that people planning, businesses, foreign investors can have clarity around that. I think that hasn't yet been addressed.
All right. Thank you
if you
very
ask
much.
me.
We've been looking at the 2016 budget and everything, practically everything around it.
Subsidy.
Well, thank you so much, Sidewa Adebayo, an economist. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And Booker Kiari, realist and chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
as we'll be back in a moment, please don't go away.